very good evening and welcome to the news live on Rup-Eng.
I'm Shanika Pereira.
And I'm Faisal Bongzo. We begin with the headlines of tonight's news. The President has said that no one will be permitted to raise arms against the motherland. The Minister of Power has assured that concessions will be given to electricity consumers next year. The Ministry of Health states that there is no shortage of medicine for cancer patients. Chris Gayle has established 6 world records in a single cricket encounter. It is suspected that American security units ignored pre-warnings about the Boston bombings.
Now for a look at those and other stories in detail. President Mahinda Rajapaksa has emphasized that no one will be allowed to raise arms against the motherland. Although terrorism was eliminated, the enemy forces are attempting to segregate the country through various means. Participating in the Colours Awards function of the Artillery Regiment of the Sri Lanka Army, the President requested everyone to unite to defeat the attempts of these enemy forces. The function was held at the Panagoda Army Camp of the Artillery Regiment of the Sri Lanka Army today. The President's colours is a specially designed national flag presented by the President of the Sri Lanka Democratic Socialist Republic for regiment or a brigade. The presentation of President's colours is done for appreciating the enormous services performed for the country by a regiment. The first Colours Award in Sri Lanka took place in the year 1922. At this function, the Sri Lanka Infantry Regiment received Queen's Colours and Regiment Colours. Up to now, the Gamna Regiment, the Arms Regiment, Gajaba Regiment and Vijayaba Infantry Regiment have received President's Colours. The President's Colours for the Artillery Regiment was presented today in appreciation of their 125 years of service and the service rendered by them during the humanitarian operation. The President pointed out that terrorism is terrorism wherever in the world, and no one should attempt to provide them various human labels.
The
President said the pride we get at the time of fluttering the national flag is increased with the artillery sounds of the Artillery Regiment. Therefore, the Artillery Regiment is a supreme sign of our national pride. He said that because of the Artillery Regiment, we were able to win the war and save the lives of several thousand soldiers. He said that several countries are still unable to win terrorism and they are suffering, although no one was able to raise arms against us. Bombs are blasted in several towns in powerful countries of the world. Let it be in Arab countries or in Asia, the terrorism is terrorism. It is not possible to affix terrorism by various labels. It is only by properly understanding the nature of terrorism that terrorism can be defeated. He said that he is praying for wisdom to fall on all countries in the world to totally eliminate terrorism.
ආසියාතික රටක වේවා රාබි රටක වේවා ලෝකේ කොහේ වුණත් ත්‍රස්තවාදය ත්‍රස්තවාදයමයි. ත්‍රස්තවාදය එක එක නම් වලින් හඳුන්වන්න තත් කළත් ලේබල් අලව නැතිව නිවැරදි ආකාරයෙන් තේරුම් ගැනීම පමණයි මේ උවදුරෙන් ලෝකයට ගැලවීමට තියෙන එකම මාර්ගය කියලා මා විශ්වාස කරනවා. ඒ සඳහා මුළු මහත් ලෝකයටම ප්‍රඥාව පහළ වේවායි මා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
The Secretary to the President, Lalit Wiratunga, Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Army Commander, Lieutenant General Jagat Jayasuriya, the Commander of the Artillery Regiment, Colonel Jagat Rambukpatha, also attended this function.
And in more news at home, the Ministry of Health informs that there is no shortage of medicine and equipment at the National Cancer Institute at Maharagama. This has been confirmed by a survey carried out by the hospital authorities of the ministry and medicine suppliers. The government spends a large amount of money for cancer patients annually. The ministry gets about 50 to 60 letters per day requesting for special medicine, in addition to the normal medicine being given daily. Some medicine costs from 95,000 rupees to 300,000 rupees. There are some instances that the ministry spends 9.5 million rupees to 10 million rupees per patient. The ministry informs that last year it spent 1,500 million rupees for purchasing of special medicine. The ministry reiterates that there is no truth in the propaganda that's being carried out by certain parties that there is a shortage of drugs and equipment at the National Cancer Institution.
The Minister of Power and Energy, Mrs. Pavitra Vanyarachi, assured that concessions will be given to electricity consumers with effect from next year. She said that construction work of 3 coal power plants will be completed next year. The minister told the Parliament today that with the commissioning of these power plants, consumers will receive concessions. The minister made these comments in response to a question raised by the chief whip of the opposition, parliamentarian John Amaratunga. The United National Party parliamentarian John Amaratunga questioned as to what concession is the government planning to give for the people affected by the increasing of electricity tariff. Minister Pavitra Vanyarachi said that 3 coal power plants will add 5,649 gigawatt hours of power to the national grid in the year 2014. It has been estimated that with this commissioning, the 6,100 gigawatt hours of power being generated by fuel will reduce to 2,304 gigawatt hours. If these estimates were implemented as planned, the Electricity Board will make an annual saving of 45 billion rupees. The profit that will be accrued by generating power in this manner will be passed on to the consumers. UMP parliamentarian Sajid Premadas said that people in the Valley-Oya area are in great difficulties at present. He said everything has been slashed and the electricity bill has been increased by 66%. And because of that, the people of Valley-Oya have got an electric shock. Minister Nimal Siripala De Silva told Mr. Sajid Premadasa that he has not seen the ground situations of these areas and he does not even know about it. He has not even travelled to those areas. The minister said that they went and met the people of the area and the people of that area told the president that he guaranteed them their living rights, and that alone is sufficient. However, the president told them that similar to ensuring their living rights, their other requirements will also be fulfilled. The minister pointed out that none of the things being said by parliamentarian Sajid Premadasa was said by the people of that area. He said that no one can negate the trust being reposed by the people on the president and the government.
You're watching the news live on Rupavahini, and in other news, the Ceylon Electricity Board said that Sri Lanka is the only country in the South Asian region that supplies electricity uninterrupted. 94% of the population in the country has now been provided with electricity. It is the desire of the government to provide electricity to all by next year. The steep increase in the fuel prices has directly affected the increase in the electricity tariff. The Solomon Islands is considered as the country that makes the highest charges for electricity in the world. The minimum charge made there for a unit of electricity amounts to about 100 rupees. Even in Denmark, which is considered as one of the developed countries, the amount charged for a unit of electricity is about 60 rupees. However, even under the revised electricity tariff, persons coming under the 61 to 90 units consumer category, the charge that will be made for a unit of electricity will amount to only 8 rupees and 50 cents. 75% of the total population uses less than 90 units of electricity. 1.1 million people of the population use less than 30 units of electricity. Accordingly, their monthly increase for the electricity bill will amount to 75 rupees. Meanwhile, India is considered as the 5th largest producer of electricity in the world. However, 300 million people of that country do not have electricity. It is 1/3 of the total Indian population. The percentage in Bangladesh amounts to 41%. In Nepal, several 100,000 people suffer without electricity. However, in certain districts of Sri Lanka, 100% of the population get their electricity supply. The government was also able to normalize electricity supply to the Jaffna Peninsula recently, which suffered 30 years of terrorist war.
Doctors have requested drivers to be very cautious in driving due to the high temperature prevailing in the country. They point out that this factor was one of the reasons for the increase of accidents during the last few days. The number of fatal accidents reported from the beginning of April up to the 19th of April amounted to 92. The number of people killed from these accidents was 98. The number of people seriously injured amounted to 323. The doctors point out that due to the high temperature, fatigue becomes high and the body becomes weaker. Therefore, it is necessary to be very careful in undertaking long-distance journeys, and due to the dry weather condition, dehydration in the body also takes place. The director of the National Hospital, Dr. Anil Jasinghe, said that the water level in the body becoming low reduces thinking capacity and the attention levels. The director of the National Hospital, Dr. Anil Jasinghe, said that if vehicles are being driven for a long period of time and if the one who is driving the vehicle gets tired, the capability of driving is reduced. Therefore, the driver should take some rest during long-distance driving. Similarly, when driving in the nights, the drivers should drink sufficient water to minimize their dehydration status.
Bangladesh is assured that it would stand by Sri Lanka at international forums. The Bangladeshi government has said that on human rights violation debates, it would stand on behalf of the Sri Lankan brethren. And the Bangladesh Foreign Secretary Shahidul Haq made these comments when he met President Mahinda Rajapaksa at Temple Trees this morning. He said that human rights is a matter that is solely an internal affair of a country. The Bangladesh Foreign Secretary said that his country does not want this subject to be discussed at any level in international conferences. He said that they trust the Sri Lankan leadership. The Foreign Secretary pointed out that he toured Sri Lanka 5 years ago, and between that time and now, there has been a massive and unbelievable development that has taken place in Sri Lanka. Mr. Haq informed that the objective of his visit was to explore the possibility of enhancing bilateral cooperation on trade, maritime and other sectors. The Bangladesh High Commissioner in Sri Lanka, Mohammad Saifur Rahman, and a delegation from that country, Minister Nirmala Kotalabala, Secretary to the President Lalit Veeratunga, and Secretary to the Ministry of External Affairs, Karunatilaka Amanugama, also attended the meeting. Meanwhile, the Bangladeshi Foreign Secretary Shahidul Haq also met the Minister of Economic Development Basil Rajapaksa today. The minister appreciated the assistance being given by Bangladesh to Sri Lanka and thanked the Bangladeshi government in this connection. The Bangladesh Foreign Secretary said that they intend to have a maritime link between Bangladesh and the Trincomalee harbour.
The Ceylon Workers' Congress presented New Year greetings to President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The leader of the party, Minister Arumugam Thondaman, and a Congress delegation greeted the President at Temple Trees this morning. They garlanded the President with golden shawls and floral tributes in the traditional manner. The President held cordial discussions with the representatives of the Ceylon Workers' Congress. Deputy Minister Muthu Sivalingam and Provincial Minister Sendin Thondaman also attended the occasion.
And in other news, Minister Vimal Veeravansa said that the beginning of the current electricity crisis was started during the United National Party government period. He said that because of purchasing electricity from private companies, all government since 1977 had to incur huge expenditure for purchasing electricity from private companies. The minister made these comments at a media conference of the National Freedom Front held in Colombo today. Minister Vimal Veeravansa said that upon introducing the open economy in 1977, the electricity generation, which was under the control of the government, was handed over to the private sector. There are official mafias in these institutions. They make efforts to purchase diesel at higher prices. A high expenditure is incurred for obtaining electricity on an emergency basis. Part of this burden is passed on to the consumer. However, the government finds it difficult to shoulder this burden now. Therefore, a part of it is passed on to the consumer.
In order to minimize the traffic congestion prevailing in the city of Kandy, a new motor traffic and pedestrian crossing plan has been introduced. This is in accordance with special plans being implemented in the main cities where there is vehicle congestion and high population. The police informed that this plan will be in operation in main streets including the Yatinwara Vidya, Harasvidya, Kumaravidya, Rajavidya, Kotugadala Vidya, DS Senanayaka Vidya. All 4 lanes of the Dalada Vidya and Yatinwara Vidya will be used for passage of vehicles only in one direction. This will help increase the speed of vehicles within the city to some extent. The new pedestrian crossing system will help join 4 streets expeditiously. Under the new plan, the city will not need flyovers and underground passages. The new plan is being jointly implemented by the police and the Kandy Municipal Council. The Governor of the province, Tikiri Kobbekado, and the Chief Minister, Sarath Ekanayaka, were present when the plan was inaugurated.
The government has decided to hold the birth anniversary of Professor Edri Veera Sarath Chandra, who rendered an yeoman's service to the Sinhala literature and drama under full state sponsorship. A discussion in this connection was held under the patronage of President Mahinda Rajapaksa at Temple Trees yesterday. The birth anniversary, Professor Edri Veera Sarath Chandra, who was a drama script writer, a novelist, a poet, a literary critic and a classical writer, falls on the 3rd of June. The Professor Edri Veera Sarat Chandra Foundation has made arrangements to hold a series of national and international cultural programs from the 3rd of June this year until the 3rd of June next year. 10 dramas written by Sarat Chandra but not produced yet, a release of a book and development of the Sarat Chandra Memorial Museum at the Peradhan University will be part of these programs. The dramas of Sarat Chandra will be staged in the cities of London, New York, Paris, Tokyo, Beijing and New Delhi. During this period, other activities that have been planned during the period include holding seminars on drama at school level, organizing of Sarat Chandra drama festivals at universities, translating of the drama Maname into the Tamil language and staging it, and staging other dramas. The President instructed to appoint a Professor Edri Veera Sarat Chandra Commemoration Committee under the leadership of the Minister of Cultural Affairs. A website containing the life history of Professor Edri Veera Sarat Chandra and his innovations was also launched. Minister T.V. Ekanayaka and Bandula Gunawardena, Secretary to the President Lalit Veeratunga, Mrs. Lalita Sarat Chandra and representatives from Professor Edri Veera Sarat Chandra Foundation attended the meeting.
It has now been 20 years since the passing away of veteran politician Lalit Atulat Mudali. On the 23rd of April 1993, when he was addressing a provincial council propaganda rally, he succumbed to a shooting by an unknown gunman. He was a bright student of the Oxford University. In the year 1958, he became the president of the Oxford Union. He became a barrister from the Oxford University and obtained a postgraduate degree from Harvard University. He entered active politics in the year 1970 and became the electoral organizer of the United National Party for the Burat Sinhala electorate. He won the Ratmalana electorate in the 1977 general election and held several ministerial portfolios in the J.R. Jayawardena government. It was on his concept that the Mahapala Scholarship Scheme was initiated for university students. He obtained the highest number of preferential votes in the 1989 general election and became the Minister of Agriculture and Higher Education. Mr. Atulat Mudali also gave leadership for the impeachment motion submitted against President Ranasinghe Premadasa. As a result of this, he lost his membership in the United National Party in the year 1991. His next political platform was the Democratic United National Front. Floral tributes were offered today to his statue near Royal College, Colombo in connection with his 20th death anniversary. The Lalit Atulat Mudali Commemoration Foundation organized several programs, including offering floral tributes to the Lalit Atulat Mudali statue at Maliban Junction in Ratmalana. Sri Lanka's permanent representative to the UN in Geneva, Ambassador Ravinatha Arya-Singhe, has called for a balanced approach in addressing the objectives of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, noting that Sri Lanka remains fully committed to the nuclear non-proliferation commitments of the NPT and has steadfastly and consistently supported the global initiatives on non-proliferation. Ambassador Arya-Singhe made these observations when he addressed the second session of the Preparatory Committee for the 2015 Review Conference of the Parties to the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. The session from 22nd April to 3rd May 2013 in Geneva is being chaired by Ambassador Cornel Feruta of Romania. Ambassador Arya-Singhe noted that nuclear non-proliferation, however, remains one of 3 pillars of the NPT, which requires equal attention along with the other 2, promotion of safe and secure use of nuclear energy for peaceful purposes and nuclear disarmament. He said that such an approach, which includes the implementation of 13 practical steps agreed on to meet the disarmament commitments during the 2000 Review Conference to advance progressively towards the total elimination of nuclear weapons, is a necessary step on the roadmap to achieving the ultimate goal of a world free of nuclear weapons.
Hello and very good evening. Welcome to the Sports News with me, Chamindi Samarasekara. The West Indian cricketer Chris Gayle was successful in establishing 6 world records in an Indian Premier League 2020 match played today. 9 world records have been established during this tournament. Chris Gayle scored 175 not out in 66 deliveries. The Royal Challenge Bangalore team was successful in making a massive victory in their match against Pune Warriors team. The Royal Challengers team, batting first, scored 263 runs for the loss of 5 wickets in the 20 overs. The Pune Warriors team was able to get 133 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in the 20 overs. Chris Gayle scored the fastest half century in 17 deliveries and then made the fastest century in 30 deliveries. In addition to this, he made a huge six for a distance of 119 meters, and it has entered the history books as the massive six so far. Chris Gayle has also become the first player to exceed scoring 150 runs in a 2020 match. With his 17 sixes, he has also become the player who has scored the highest number of sixes in a 2020 match. He is also the player to score the highest runs in a 2020 match with his score of 175 not out. He also created records by holding the first wicket partnership of 167 runs and scoring the fastest century within 7.5 overs and by scoring the highest number of runs in a 2020 match. Lithuania's ID's Kruopis managed to avoid a crash that blocked part of the road yesterday and outsprinted Marco Kaliden to cross the line first to win the second stage of the Tour of Turkey. Germany's Andrew Greipel was involved in the pile-up, which occurred in the final kilometre of 153 km stage from Alanya to Antalya, but managed to finish high enough to take over as the overall leader from compatriot Marco Kittel. Kruopis was one of the few riders to evade the crash. Those on the left side of the road piled into each other, but some of those on the right managed to ride past. The Lithuanian is now third in the overall standings behind Kittel with Kaliden fourth.
And with that we end tonight's news along with Shanika and Shamindi. This is Faisal Bongso signing off and reminding that there'll be more news tomorrow night at the same time. Have a wonderful day tomorrow.